The college basketball experience pregame show for Saturday, February 17th on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has they have Pick'em, and there's a chance to win 100 times the amount of money you enter. Use the promo code SGPN at underdogfantasy.com for 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Yes, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use that promo code SGPN. You get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines because the Daytona 500 is tomorrow. Enter for free the Daytona 500 contest for a chance to win $100 cash and a $100 SGPN gift card at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Daytona. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Daytona.
Hey, this is Derek Stevens. I'm the owner of Circa Las Vegas. You're listening to FGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college basketball experience Saturday pregame show. The slate is fire. Good morning, world. Did not get a lot of sleep because I have a newborn and they cry. But either way, wouldn't miss this for the world. And excited to talk about just there's a lot of great matchups, a lot of off the beaten path great matchups in my opinion. You know, not a type of Saturday where I feel like you get a ton of the great rivalry games. I think that's more like next Saturday or the Saturday after that. But there's a ton of great mid-major matchups and some big time matchups with some hatred. You know, Houston, Texas going at it. Kansas, Oklahoma should be fun. We're going to talk about all of it. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swigget, Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Let's go. I mean, people in the chat, shout out to the chat. They're already talking about what games we're on. South Carolina Gamecocks. I'll be talking about the Gamecocks today. And I am joined. It's a Saturday morning. You know what that is. All right. You're getting a fire episode for free. YouTube.com/the college experience. Shout out to Chad G. Big fan of Chad G. Giving us $20 saying, Daddy Dundee, get some Starbucks. Hey, thank you, buddy. I will certainly do that at the first chance I have. I have just some bullshit coffee from downstairs, and there's not much power to it. But look, it's Saturday morning. You know what that is. You know what that means. It's not just Dundee rattling off talking gibberish to the world. I am joined by my buddy who's been with us a long time. You know, he's the host of the NBA Gambling Podcast. He is the host of the WNBA Gambling Podcast. You've heard him on the NFL Gambling Podcast, the Sports Gambling Podcast. But I like to talk a little shit and say he got his start right here on the college experience. Give it up for Terrell Furman Jr., aka Really Rel. How you doing, man?
Dundee, Dad Dundee, is it? Hey, I see the bags under your eyes there, sir.
Man, I'm looking like Jeff Van Gundy over here. It's okay.
Hey, right? I'm going to hope for long naps for you. Hopefully that you can get back right because I can see it.
Man, I'll be honest. It's like you can't get an hour. You get an hour in, it's like,
yep.
It's a good thing, right? But every 30 minutes, just like, I gotta go change a diaper. I'll get the bottle downstairs. Okay, it's cool. Mm-hmm. But I'm not complaining. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful Saturday upon us. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm good. I'm great. I feel I'm feeling all right about the slate. I think it's a good slate here. It's been a while since I feel like we talked college basketball too. I think I gotta set up for a weekday show one of these days this week.
For
You
sure.
know,
You're
my
always
birthday's on
welcome.
Friday. My birthday's on Friday. Maybe we do Thursday night. Thursday night,
I was
Friday.
about to say, it's like if you want to do the Friday night one, that's a long ass show. And if it's your birthday, if I were you, I would do the Thursday into Friday, shorter slate, nicer show. But I mean, you're welcome.
Okay.
Or you let me know. You're welcome whenever. You know, you're welcome whenever. The slate is a lot of fun. Where the hell is my list? I love, and I know you are close there to the great state of North Carolina. A lot of times you went to college there. You spent a lot of time in the great state of North Carolina. Wake Forest is in a spot 2.5 games back. If they are now, they've been ass on the road this year. I like Steve Forbes, but they've been ass on the road this year. If they are able to steal a win today in Charlottesville, the remaining schedule is very kind. So Virginia is a game and a half ahead of them. The remaining schedule: home to Pitt, Wake could win that. Home to Duke, Wake could win that. At Notre Dame, Wake should win that. At Virginia Tech, Wake could win that. Home to Georgia Tech, Wake should win that. Home to Clemson, Wake could win that. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, whoa, they could win the ACC potentially because Virginia's got to play Duke. I'm sorry. Virginia has to play Carolina. Carolina's got to play Duke. And you can see a path right there for Wake Forest. Now, however, as much as that is true, Virginia's 13-1 at home, and they just lost their first home game to Pitt, where they were shooting like 1,000 threes, and making them all. I felt like Virginia is laying 2.5 right now. This line's come down a point overnight, which is a little surprising to me, but I just don't see Tony Bennett losing 2 games in a row at home. I think Virginia's gonna steal the ACC regular season title yet again, because Duke and Carolina got to play at Cameron Indoor. Carolina has to go to Charlottesville, and I think Duke could still lose at Wake. So I am going to lock up. It might not. It's not pretty. It's never pretty.
Yeah.
The Virginia Wahoos minus the 2.5 at home. Curious what you're doing here in a huge ACC game.
How about you? How about you? How about
coming in hot? I like this. Okay.
This line isn't corrected enough. It's not correct. Do you realize that last game Virginia shot 28% from the field? 28%. Wake Forest is a good defense, and I don't think we're talking about how they play defensively over the course of this season. The offense is really good.
Top 100
I think
defense,
that
Wake Forest. Yeah.
Yes, I think that Wake Forest offense is good enough to find its spots. I'm not saying it's going to be the prettiest game, but I literally do not trust Virginia to score. I don't trust Virginia to score at all. I really don't.
I haven't trusted Virginia to score. I didn't trust them to score in 2019. They won the national championship. But I get your point. But let's do some battle. Pick Dundee in one corner, riding the Wahoos, and Terrell Furman going with the Wake Forest Demon Deacons and Steve Forbes.
You need one good road game to set you up for the rest of the season. One good road game is today in Virginia.
That is true, man. If Wake can steal this, if you're Steve Forbes,
defense travels.
If you're Steve Forbes in that pregame speech, you're saying, guys, I recruited you for this. We have been building this program for years. This is the game of our life right here. You win this, we take care of business at home. We can get the 1 seed in the ACC tournament. I know it sounds crazy, but no, I trust Tony Bennett. Texas Tech is at Iowa State. Iowa State's lay at 6.5. I ended up betting Iowa State minus 6.5 because I think they are a legit Final Four contender. Probably, I'm going to go ahead and say this is the best Iowa State team in my life, and that includes the Jamal Tinsley era, the who was the guy for the Bulls? I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. But anyway, including a shit ton of decent Iowa State teams. I think this is the best Iowa State team I've seen. They've won key road games. Marcus Fizer is who I was referring to. What are you doing here in Ames?
I like Iowa State. I don't love Iowa State. I'm not betting this. I mean, I actually kind of think Texas Tech covers this. I think this is a little bit closer of a game.
Can I mention a little? I was gonna stay off this game, and then I realized Texas Tech stormed the court the last time they played a game. They beat Kansas, and then I was like, oh. Okay. I was gonna back off it. Because I thought Texas Tech defensively could stay in it, and then I thought about them partying after they beat Kansas, and I was like, no, I think I like Iowa State. Yeah. So.
I really think the defense is going to travel on the road here, but I'm not betting this. I will. Yeah, Iowa State -7. I'm not betting it.
Alrighty. Penn State's at Nebraska. I stayed away from this game, but Nebraska's been fire at home this year, and they're having like their best year in basketball ever. I feel like, at least in my lifetime. They're laying 8.5. Can your boy Ace Baldwin? 8.5's a little steep. Can Penn State and Ace Baldwin come into Lincoln, Nebraska, and perhaps stay within 8.5, maybe steal the game? I don't know. Tamanaga and Nebraska are fire at home. What are you doing here?
I don't know. I think they actually win it outright. I'm not a fan of this Nebraska team.
I'm not either, but I do think at home they're a tough out. But 8.5, this line's gone up overnight. This is where I think I would take Penn State.
Penn State needs a really, really good road win too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've been playing a lot better second half of the season. TCU's at Kansas State. This is a Moneyline Mac lock. I stayed away, but I did agree with him that I think K-State is the right side. They are in a more desperate spot, being kind of on the bubble. TCU's in. I think if the season ended right now. K-State is laying 1.5 at home. This game's on ESPNU. TCU's 4-3 on the road. I think that's the reason why you might hesitate. TCU's a good team, but I think Jerome Tang has just a knack for winning in Manhattan. In his 2 years there, they've beaten everybody good, I feel like. Your thoughts on this one?
I am going to go with I'm going to go Kansas State here. I think it's defensively. I think that's where they're going to fuck with TCU a little bit at home. The home environment is going to be pretty crazy. I think Kansas State at home, laying the short number, it feels good for me. Why are they a favorite here? Is it not because TCU on a neutral court? You would take TCU, wouldn't you?
Yes, I think I would. Yes.
I don't think that would translate over to still Kansas State being -1.5 here. I think the line's telling you Kansas State, and I think Kansas State basketball wise is just a better play.
You locking it?
Yeah, sure. Mac locked it. I'll lock it.
Ooh, there we go. A little Big 12. You gotta love the home environments in the Big 12. Always hard to fade. There you go. Play a little song for you. I got a lot here.
As Patty C would say, you gotta embrace the stink.
You gotta embrace the stink. Texas A&M is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, getting 8.5.
Hey man, don't even think about it. Buzz Williams is a dog. Buzz Williams is a dog.
I already bet this. My thing is, I got it at 9.5. I'm like 8.5. Do I still want to buy in?
Nah,
yes,
I do.
It. I actually don't think it's that crazy of a money line play. I don't think it's that crazy of a money line play. Let's go.
You back Shaka as a dog, and you back Buzz Williams as a dog.
Let's go. Shout out to Clark. He is on Texas A&M as well. He likes the over too, by the way. Let's talk about that. 160.5. The over. Obviously, Alabama plays at the craziest, one of the craziest paces year in, year out in college basketball. I think they're still top 25 this year. Both teams efficient at offensive rebounding, but Texas A&M is the biggest rebounding team, or the best rebounding team in the nation. That I think is one of the reasons why Alabama might struggle, and it's hard to really run when you can't get boards. They're number one rebounding team in the nation, and I believe, number 3 rebounding team in the nation, number 1 offensive rebounding team in the nation. The offensive rebounding is the reason why A&M stays in this game.
Real quick, A&M 4-2 as a dog. 4-2 as a dog this season. Buzz Williams typically hits as a dog. You got the look ahead spot that was Vanderbilt last game. That's why they blew this when they were looking ahead to this Alabama game. They knew they had a back-to-back on the road with Alabama on deck. You drop the first game, win the second. I'm man, it's really hard for me not to bet Texas A&M here.
Yeah, and especially the way A&M just lost at the buzzer to Vanderbilt. They're in the more desperate spot right now. I'm all over A&M here. Creighton is at Butler. Hinkle Fieldhouse should be rocking. What's up?
Texas A&M owns Alabama. You look at the last, Alabama's won one of the last 5 meetings, which was the last one. Texas A&M has won outright as 11-point and 10-point dogs at Alabama.
Whew. Let's go.
This is a lock. Play the lock music. We didn't play it. Play the lock music. Texas A&M.
Yeah, all over the Aggies. Creighton is at Butler in a huge game. For I would say bigger for Butler, but huge game for both. Butler's catching 2.5 at home in Hinkle.
This is a real basketball conference.
This game's great, and Butler I really thought would have beaten Marquette the other game. Had Marquette they had battled back. They had gone on like a 10-0 run, and Marquette banked in a dead-on 3 like from center court. That was one of the biggest plays of the game for Marquette. And look, Marquette played great majority of that game, but that was a lucky ass play, and all the momentum shifted when it was only 2 minutes left. When that game goes to a 2-point game to a 5-point game, just like that. I think Butler. I don't love this play. I'm actually not going to bet this. I'm just more excited to watch it, but I'm going to take Butler at home to cover the 2.5. But I could see it going either way. What are you doing here?
You're scared. You're scared, and I'm not. Lock up Butler. They're going to win outright.
There we go.
They have the offense.
Chad G said did a deep dive on this as Shaka owns Big East on the road, but Marquette he's talking Marquette and Yukon. We'll get to that. Clark is saying Creighton. He likes Creighton, but I'm telling you, man, I feel like it's anyone's game. 2 minutes left, and I would tend to favor the home team. Texas is at Houston. This is disgusting. I'm locking up Texas. Horns up. I think Texas's length can give Houston problems. They went to overtime. Houston won in overtime in Austin. I think Texas, from a roster standpoint, I think you can make the argument, and I feel pretty good about this statement that I'm going to say. I think Texas has a better roster. The question is, the real reason why Houston is better than Texas, in my opinion, is Kelvin Sampson, compared to Rodney Terry. But I think 10.5, 11 is too much points, and I also think Texas might even have some fans in that stadium. So I'm on the Longhorns plus the 10.5. I don't think it's that crazy of a potential money line play. Like I'd favor Houston to still win the game, of course. But if you're telling me this is a 4 or 5 point game with 2 minutes left, which I kind of expect it to be, I'll take a shot on. I'll sprinkle a little bit on the money line. Am I a maniac, Terrell?
I don't think you're a maniac. I think he makes some good points there. I like Texas in the points. I don't think they win the game outright, but I think this is a lot closer of a game. You have a Houston team that their style of basketball just isn't for a team that's trying to go out here and cover the line, beat you by 20, and ultimately make sure, like, they've struggled against the spread all season, just hitting at 50%. It's about on and off for them. And they're at a place right now where I just don't want to bet this team. They've only covered one in their last 5. It hasn't looked good. They're 3 straight games, no cover with the loss outright. I really don't want to bet this Houston team right now. So as much as I don't like Texas, I don't like Houston more. I'll take Texas plus 10.5.
Let's go. I bet this. I already bet this. I just think Texas can stay within that number. They can stay within that number. Florida, Georgia is going on. The last time they played in the Swamp, it was an overtime game. Georgia's lost 5 straight. So that was the beginning of a 5-game skid for the Bulldogs. Florida has been playing good, but they got to travel to Athens. Snow White, Mike Snow White. Yeah, can he clip his boys at a pivotal time? His ex school. I took a flyer on Georgia. I actually threw $50 on the Georgia Bulldogs plus 4. Didn't want to go on I normally like to throw $100 down on a bet, but Georgia's lost 5 in a row, but I feel all right about it. What are you doing here?
Oh, are we ever going to learn our lesson with this game? It's never Georgia. It's never Georgia. I mean, they really need a win.
It's a little look ahead for Florida too, because they get Bama next.
I'm not betting Georgia. I'll take Georgia. I'm not betting Georgia. I can't every time. When's the last time Georgia beat Florida?
I mean, it wasn't with Snow White. He's 0-3, but this is why I think pressure amounts. I think he gets his first win against his former school today.
This would be a pivotal time to get it.
Yeah,
give him Georgia in points at home.
BYU is at Oklahoma State. Max says we should all lock up Oklahoma State. I took Oklahoma State, but BYU is laying 6.5 in Stillwater. You could talk me into betting this one. You know what? You could talk if we feel all right about this one. I haven't bet this yet. Maybe I will throw money on K-State and Oklahoma State. If you could talk, I mean, K-State, I think I might actually try to play that. But the problem is that goes right up to this game, so I'd have to delay the show for about 30 seconds. What are you doing here?
I like Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State gets a big win at home every year. Every year they consistently get big wins at home. They just kind of trash everywhere else, kind of drop games they shouldn't every year. They're always at this point in the season, it's just playing spoiler to somebody and messing up somebody's resume. So let's take Oklahoma State. This
BYU's 2-4 on the road too. So I mean, there's some.
Why is this line dropping? Why would it be going? It opened up 6.5. It opened up 7, and now it's 6.
I see a 6.5, but okay.
I see a 6 out there. Is a 6 out there? Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
How about them Cowboys? You know what? I'm going to do that right now. Hang on. By the way, Arkansas.
They play good at Houston. Play good at Oklahoma. They need that. This is good. This is good. This is it. This is the one.
Yeah. Hang on. I'm just got to place this. Arkansas is catching 12.5 at Mississippi State. I already bet the Razorbacks. I know that could be foolish, but I don't think Mississippi State could score that many points. So I will take Arkansas plus 12.5 on the road. That is a lock, but hang on. What are you doing here? I'm just got a wager on Kansas State and and Oklahoma State. What are you doing in this matchup there in Starkville?
I really don't feel good about laying 11.5 with Mississippi State, but Arkansas sucks. And while I don't trust Mississippi State to score, I really think Arkansas is going to struggle to get to 50 points here today.
That's what I'm saying, though. If they get to 48, then you're saying, can Mississippi State get more than 60? I don't know that they can. Mississippi State can't score, man. I mean, I like Mississippi State. I like Chris Jans, but I just like
12. It's been the same thing. They need to make a change. It's been the same thing every year with Mississippi State. Like every year, you got to make a change. I guess we'll go Arkansas plus 11.5.
Yes. Let's go. Yeah, that's a Dundee special. That line dropped a point overnight, by the way. Here's an interesting one. UMass just had a huge win at Richmond. Richmond was in first place in the
Hey man.
What's that?
Game. That was a good game.
No, but dude, look, they took down the number 1 team in the A10. Now they go to LaSalle, who's shitty this year. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think we should bet on LaSalle because I think it's a sleepy spot. LaSalle's getting what 6.5, 7.
I'm not gonna bet it. I mean, I like it. I like the angle. I'll take LaSalle. I'm not gonna bet it. No way. There's no way I'm betting this. I'm not taking UMass after that win, but I'm not betting LaSalle.
All right, the Duke Blue Devils are heading to Florida State. Duke's laying 5.5. Mac locked up Florida State, but he is a noted ACC hater.
Yeah, he's really a hater. He really is a hater.
Trust.
Like he's really a hater. I don't like the Dukies, but I mean. 5.5 feels short. I thought this was going to be around 8, 9. Like you were going to make me, have to think about it. 5.5. That's too short. I really don't think about it. Duke wins by 7.
Yeah, I'm on Duke. That's no bet from me, just because Florida State's a weird team to understand this year. But yeah. Virginia Tech's getting 10.5, 11 in Chapel Hill. I couldn't do it, man. Tell me you're going with the Hokies. And by the way, shout out to Jason who gave us $5. He says, "Hope everyone's having a winning day. Let's not forget to give some love to the show. And remember, let it ride." Appreciate you, Jason, man. Very kind of you. I think I'm going with Carolina. They've had a couple tough games. I think they've lost 3 of 5. They're back home at Chapel Hill. I think they're going to put it on Virginia Tech today. I'm sorry. I know you'd like to back. You're a Carolina fan, but you like to back the Virginia schools because I don't know why
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why. I don't know why you're so pro Carolina right here. Virginia Tech kind of whoops their ass.
Dude, I watched this Virginia Tech team. They don't got anybody, man. They don't got anybody good this year, man. This Virginia Tech team, I try. Like I have nothing against the Hokies. I mean, maybe a little bit that Real Money Kramer, that's his team. I like to talk a little shit to him, but I
don't think they're going to whoop their ass. Carolina's going to win. Carolina's going to win by 8 or 9. It's still going to be a solid win. It's just not going to get the cover.
All right. I'm not betting that game, and I agree with Clark. I think LaSalle is a live dog there. Kobe has a crush on Fran. Not true. But Wisconsin is at Iowa. Iowa is catching 1.5 at home. This line has been actually crazy. Actually, let me double check on this line because shit has been going up and it's crossed over 0. I feel like once or twice already.
You really don't have to tell me. I'm not taking it in Wisconsin.
Yeah, Iowa. Staple on Staple. Give me the home team. Staples don't travel. We know this. All right. Yeah. Staples don't travel.
I might
Marquette.
bet that.
Yeah, that's a Moneyline Mac lock. Moneyline Mac lock that I
didn't locked up Iowa too?
I did not, but he did. Yes.
I'll roll him. Let's add that to the card.
Hawkeyes at home against the Badgers in a revenge spot. Marquette's at Yukon.
Jeff said Hawkeyes native. We suck. Don't bet us.
That's the perfect time to take them. All right. I'm joking, Jeff. Marquette's getting 6 at Yukon. This line's come down. Was it 7, 7.5? It's at 6.
It's nothing to think about.
I'm taking Yukon, buddy. I think UConn's gonna fuck them up, man. If it was in Marquette, I would take Marquette.
All right.
But the fact, last time they played, Marquette won. I think it's a bad spot for Marquette. They've won like 8 in a row too. No.
4-0-1 as a dog this season.
4-1-1 is what I hear. Are you betting Marquette?
Yeah, sure. 4-0-1 as a dog. They're gonna cover. They're gonna cover. They're not gonna win outright. They're gonna cover. I'm not gonna put them on the money line, but they're gonna cover. This is gonna be like 2-3.
We're doing battle. Terrell Furman Jr. fly with the Eagles and Moneyline Mac. I'm taking the Yukon Huskies. Shout out to Shaolin Debris.
This is what's gonna happen.
What's that?
Shaka's gonna punch them in the mouth early. Yukon's gonna get plus money. Gonna come in, back Yukon. Yukon's gonna come back, win the game by 3.
I think UConn's going to win by double digits. I think it's going to be like a 15, 16 point win because I think
actually
waiting for this.
Make it 4 because they had a couple of free throws.
Oof. You know, we'll see. It's going to be a fun show. The chat was talking about this game. Lane Elliott and I know some other people were talking about it up top. I already bet this, but unfortunately this line has gone up a little bit, so I still like it. So South Carolina just lost to Auburn by 1 million. Right. And we were on Auburn. Hey, look, we were on Auburn.
Boy. We could have alt spreaded anything and it could have been plus 1,000 on the alt spread and we could have made money.
Now, LSU's 1-6 on the road. This is the second end of a back-to-back away for LSU. They lost at Florida by 2 only the other day. I think it's a get right spot for Lamont Paris in South Carolina. I got it at 5 at 6.5 now. I still would advise my clients, Terrell. You know, my good old clients out there to dial 1-800-PICK-DUNDEE on this one and take the Gamecocks minus 6.5. Look, I'd still think they're a good team, and you get your ass whooped on the road like that. You have a little team meeting, especially when you're 21-4.
Mm-hmm.
You lose like that. I don't even think you have a players only meeting. They're a veteran team. You don't even need coach there saying, "Hey guys, we just got fucked up. Let's make sure we beat this shitty LSU team at home because we're in the mix to still win the SEC." I like laying it. What are you doing here?
I'm only afraid of it because everybody, literally, I want you to know, literally everybody and their mom is betting South Carolina today. Everybody.
Well, you've seen it with the line movement.
That's never good.
Yeah,
that is never good.
It's fair.
89% of the money is on South Carolina today. For that, I can't bet the game. I'll take South Carolina. I'll watch the game. If it hits, congratulations to all 89% of you. But I cannot bet this game. The highest percentage of bets for the day is on South Carolina to cover this spread after losing by 1 million. Everybody thinks
maybe I can middle this. Maybe I can middle this with my -5 because it's at 6.5 now.
BK Takeover says his grandmother is even on South Carolina. I mean, I cannot bet that. I'm sorry. I'll sit back and I'll just miss out. I'll miss out. If it hits, I'll miss out. It's perfectly fine.
What was I gonna say? Boston College is laying 1 at home against Miami and Jimmy Larinaga.
I guess give me Boston College.
Me too. Don't bet this game.
I guess.
Don't bet. I haven't bet a basketball game involving Boston College.
When is the last time I've ever recommended Boston College?
It's a bad year for Miami after a Final Four run.
I remember.
Yeah. Cincinnati is getting 1.5 at UCF, and actually you could shop around. I've seen UCF as a pick also. This is a revenge game. UCF lost at Cincinnati, but Moneyline Max locking up Cincinnati on the road. I couldn't do it. I took UCF, but I don't have any real conviction. There's no bet placed by me. What are you doing here?
Yeah, this is more of a 50-50 for me. I think it could go either way. Cincinnati's been, I mean, they're 4-4 on the road. That's all right. They're okay. 10-6 at home for UCF. It's the losing. I think it's the Iowa State game that's really making me not bet Cincy. I really didn't like how they look at Iowa State game. Maybe that's recency bias, but at least UCF is in a very good spot where they just dropped 2 games on the road. They're coming back home to their home fans. They know they need a win. They want to get rolling again. They did the same thing when they lost to this Cincy team the first time and then lost to Baylor. They knew that they needed a get right spot at home versus a good Oklahoma team, and they did it. So I kind of feel like the script is the same here for UCF. UCF -1.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. Michael in the chat cracking me up here. Am I the only person who does not love this card? I mean, there are a couple of bets, but there are absolute no. Just put your rent on the games bets out there. I think there are some put your rent games out there.
Hey man, I don't know. I'm really locked into Buzz Williams today. If he disappoints me, I'm gonna be so hurt. Like I'm kind of locked into Buzz Williams today.
I have one that I'm locked in on, and once again, we've got some line movement to, so yesterday was a better day to bet. The day before is always a better day to bet college basketball for the most part, like 80% of the time. McNeese is in first place.
Mm-hmm.
They just took down Corpus Christi in the past week, who was in second place. Nichols is in second place now. Nichols is at home here. Nichols is solid, man. They beat LSU at LSU. They're getting 9.5. They're 8-1 at home. And I feel like, I don't know if McNeese respects Nichols. I think Nichols could sting him a little bit. So I'm on Nichols. Once again, this line did drop a point overnight. Yeah. I'm on Nichols. That's still at 9.5. And Cracky, the cocaine bear. Yes, I did put my rent payment on the Wahoos. What are you doing here? I think Nichols is a good play. I think there's value still in Nichols at 9.5.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna fight you on it. I think we take him on the money line.
I think it's worth a sprinkle. Let's go. Take them Colonels. Nathan Phillips saying, "Start the games already. I'm broke." I bet this game, and I'm curious your thoughts. So, I'm a big fan of Lavelle Moton in North Carolina Central.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, I win a lot of money each year. I feel like betting on Lavelle Moton.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, he's a very good coach, and I'm surprised the P5 hasn't come calling yet, or P6, whatever the fuck you want to say. But this line makes no sense to me. So North Carolina Central won by 19 in the past 40 days against Howard.
Mm-hmm.
They're hitting the road to Howard, and Howard is laying 3.5. I have already bet Howard because this line makes no fucking sense to me.
It's the stink. It's the stink. Howard's a tough place to play, man.
I'm taking Howard, man. I'm taking Howard because it doesn't make any sense.
Central hasn't won in last 2 times they met there. The Howard Bisons are able to get it done. And granted, those have both been some good Howard and Central teams, but it's a tough place to play. Like I've asked my peoples that played at A&T and all of them say Howard is a tough place to play. The atmosphere is really, really lit. And this is a big game. So this could be the game that really rights the ship for them. I think they should get up for Lavelle Moton in them. So I'm taking Howard.
Yes. Lock up the Bison. Gus Johnson's alma mater, Marvin Gaye's alma mater. Let's go.
And they've been on the road. It's finally back at Howard. This is going to be a good one.
The chat is talking about a big game in the Big Sky between Weber State and Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington is a factory, but they haven't covered lately. They've been winning. They just haven't covered lately. But Weber's been winning too. Last I saw, Eastern Washington was laying 3.5. I'm just trying to make sure this hasn't moved on us.
It's at 4. I see 4s.
Okay, 4. I'm on E-Dub. I battled Mac here. E-Dub hasn't covered in like 5 straight games. I think 4 or 5 straight games, but they've won all of them. And I'm talking about they missed by like a point. They're going to cover this. Yeah. I think they're going to get it done there in Cheney, Washington. So lay it against the Wildcats of Weber State. Lock that thing up. Let's go. Chad G says he's with me. Jason says there is a 3.5 out there. You're on E-Dub there. What are you thinking?
Yeah, Weber State's due for a loss. They're due for a loss. It was close. It was closer than you wanted against Sacramento State. It was closer. It was really closer than you wanted against Idaho. Like, yeah, they are finally due to take a L here. I'm taking Eastern Washington. Get it done.
Here's a play here for you, and I'm curious if you like this play. Maryland upset Illinois at Illinois.
Okay.
Illinois is heading to College Park. They're only laying 2.5. Maryland in a desperate spot to try to get back in the mix of the NCAA tournament. If you win this one, this is a great way to get back in that mix. Lefty Driesell, rest in peace to legendary coach Lefty Driesell, who passed away today. Former longtime Maryland head coach.
Oh man!
And from my father swears by Lefty Driesell. There's a great story about him in Ocean City where he. An apartment building was on fire where he was vacationing in Ocean City, and he fucking bust down the door and saved like 10 kids or some shit, or 8 kids. Hell of a good guy. So we got a tragic magic situation going on. My mother's still staying with me. She's a Maryland grad. I have to lock this up. Give me the Terps and Jameer Young. Let's go. The line is a little off too. Maryland's pretty fire at home. You know, occasionally they'll get bit. What's that?
It's either Maryland or no bet. It's Maryland or no bet. I can't fade. I can't bet against that. I can't bet against it. It's either I get down on Maryland or I'm not going to bet it. I'm not there yet, but I'm definitely on Maryland.
Yeah. And condolences to Lefty Driesell's family. Syracuse is at Georgia Tech. Mac talked me into betting Georgia Tech because Syracuse just stormed the court and took down North Carolina, and Georgia Tech in Atlanta is a lot better than when they hit the road. This game's on the C-Dub, so enjoy that Dawson's Creek episode prior to it.
The Flash.
He talked me into this.
Supernatural.
He talked me into this, man. He talked me into betting Georgia Tech, and I think he's right. Georgia Tech does get up for big time games. I know Syracuse isn't a big time team this year, but it's a brand. It's a big time basketball brand. I think he's right. I think Damon Stoudemire and the Yellow Jackets take care of business against Syracuse. I'm on it. I bet this already. What are you doing here?
I only like taking Georgia Tech when they're catching a bunch of points. Betting. Let me say that.
Yeah.
Because I can take Georgia Tech here. I only like betting Georgia Tech when they're catching a bunch of points. I'm not betting a Georgia Tech team when they're only catching 1.5. I don't trust them that much, so I'm good. It's a no bet for me. I will cheer you guys on from the sidelines. Go Georgia Tech.
Yeah. I bet that one, folks. I'll play a little music. Big time game in the Mountain West. Utah State's at Colorado State. Colorado State's lay at 5.5. This line's come down overnight. It was 6.5. I took Utah State plus 6.5. That was not a bet, but I took that. Mac locked up Colorado State. I don't know. Altitude doesn't bother Utah State because they play at altitude. I think Colorado State wins in a close game. What are you doing here?
I actually kind of want to back Utah State here.
Yeah. Betting this?
Nah, I'm not betting it.
I'm gonna fire off.
I think it's a close. Yeah, I think this is 6.5, 2 possession. This could be I like Utah State. I'm not going to bet Utah State, but I like Utah State. They can lose on the road and lose a close game, lose by 4.
I'm going to fire off some wagers to the people out there. Northwestern State's beating Incarnate Word. Northwestern State took a team of JUCOs, all like the whole roster. They were horrible in the first 2 months of the season, playing a lot better lately. I locked them when they beat New Orleans by 11 the other day. They've won. They just played better, I would say, since January. Incarnate Word is having a up season for them. I mean, they're 8-16, but considering how bad they were previously, Northwestern State only has 1 road win this year, but it was recently. I think they make it 2. I think they're a better basketball team than Incarnate Word. I trust the coaching better too. I think they're going to go into San Antonio and beat IDub. Stanford is also taking on Washington State. Washington State's one of the best stories in the nation right now. They're 19-6, and all 6 of their losses are pretty decent losses. Stanford's catching 7.5 or 8. Washington State just took down Cal. I think Stanford can cover this one. This is another one that I feel like Matt kind of talked me into, but I think no one gets excited to play Stanford basketball. So I it's sleepy. I think Wazoo wins. Stanford stays in that 5 to anywhere from 2 to 5 range, and they cover. What are you doing here?
What's the line you have?
I have 7.5, but I do see an 8 out there. What do you see?
I see an 8. 8. 8's a key number. A lot of games in by 8. I kind of leans. I don't know. Feels like a lot of points. I think I'll take Stanford plus 8.
UTEP is at Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee is a different team at home. Lay the points with Middle Tennessee. I think it's that's a good spot. I feel like they're always so much better in Murfreesboro. UTEP can't score. Hear me out on this one, because I feel like the whole chat was shitting on me for this play yesterday. I think Kentucky's going to cover at Auburn, and I think it's worth taking a tiny sprinkle. Kentucky's getting 8.5 or 9 at Auburn. Auburn just won by 1,000. Kentucky plays a lot of non-con games. I would say they're neutral though. I understand the jungle is lit, but they play a lot of big time programs. They do. So I don't think, I think from an athletic standpoint, they'll be able to match. Now I know Bruce Pearl really has this Auburn team looking good, but Kentucky, remember they won at Kansas a couple years ago. I feel like it was that last year or the year before. That team was playing like ass all year. They won at Kansas. I think they could do this here. I'm taking the Wildcats. I bet this. The chat last night was shitting on me on this one. And think about this. I would love to know where the money is. I know everyone, Kentucky's a national brand, but I think everyone's thinking Auburn's going to fuck them up. What are you doing here?
I'm taking Kentucky.
Let's go.
I'm taking Kentucky. I'm not. I mean, I'm a huge Rob Dillingham fan. Seeing him play in person, very, very big fan.
He's a baller. Dillingham. They need to let him loose more, though, man.
Hey, man, I think it's his team. He can carry him. He can carry him.
I was so impressed with him in that A&M game that they lost, but he willed them to overtime. They need to let him loose, in my opinion. Chad G also with a crazy stat in here that Stanford is 6-1 ATS. Visiting Washington State since 2015, and 5-2 straight up. I'm on Kentucky. I'm
trying to pull up the
Sana Pete. A great angle. Kentucky's young and careless. Perfect chance to beat Auburn. I agree. Let's go. I know Jeff Sharp. He can't take him. He can't take Kentucky. He's on Auburn. Shout out to Jeff. Baylor's laying 7.5 in Morgantown. I bet West Virginia because I think they can stay in this game. West Virginia did beat Texas and Kansas in Morgantown. When West Virginia hits the road, you fade them. They cover against Baylor today. Worth a money line sprinkle too. What are you doing here?
Oh no, Scott Drew kind of whoops their ass.
Yeah.
I think this is a spot. I think this is a spot where everybody's going to be on West Virginia. It makes so much sense. They're catching all these points at home, and they just kind of get demolished. I'm on Baylor.
The chat's talking about Indiana State, Southern Illinois. Indiana State, they got ranked and then they got upset by a shitty Illinois State team. That loss might have them on the outside of the NCAA tournament, and they might have to win the Valley, which is a tough conference. Now they go to Carbondale, Illinois, where this place gets lit. Indiana State's laying 4.5. I went Indiana State, but this is a toxic environment, so this is a no bet for me. I know the chat's saying they liked betting Indiana State, but what are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm all over Indiana State. I lock up Indiana State. I'm not afraid on the road.
Woo. There we go. Terrell Clark's with you in the chat. I see A1 athletes saying Dundee either may on this guy though. I think I like the points. Why? Which game are you referring to? A1 athletes. Sorry, we've gone through so many. Let's talk about Louisville's getting 12.5 at Pitt. Louisville's been playing better. They've been playing better lately. I'll take the 12.5 for them to cover in Pitt. You? I'll bet this.
Oh yeah, sure.
Pitt wins by 7. NC State's at Clemson. Clemson is in a spot where they also could be a serious player and potentially winning the ACC regular season. Clemson's laying 7.5 at home. I'll lay it against the Pussy Pack. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? The Pussy Pack?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Yale.
I had to think about what you were asking me. Like, would I? Yeah, of course. Don't tip me with a good time. What's the joint from Rick and Morty? You son of a bitch. I'm in. Like, yeah, let's do it. Give me that.
I mean, I think we should. I don't fucking trust NC State.
I'm not gonna lock it because NC State really hasn't been kicking my ass all season. I'm not gonna lock it, but yeah.
Hey, do you see a line on? I know they didn't announce this yesterday because the Ivy plays 2 games in 48 hours or 24 hours. Yale at Princeton is like a huge game in the Ivy. I'm looking for where the hell that is.
I see -3.5 Princeton.
That game's a huge fucking game in the Ivy. Princeton, Yale was the 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, or I'm sorry, in the Ivy tournament last season. They won the regular season. Princeton upset them in the tournament. Then Princeton goes on that magical run, beats Arizona, goes all the way to the Sweet 16. I kind of think Yale's gonna. I don't know though, because Yale beat them on. No, I think Princeton gets them here. I'm gonna lay it with Princeton. They're 9-0 at home. What are you doing here?
Yeah. I really don't feel. I think Princeton's gonna win the game, but I'm scared that this could be like down to the wire. They just get a last second shot and win. That's what I'm really, really afraid of. But so I'll take Princeton, but I don't like it. I'm not betting it.
Yeah. Noah Beanick was doing baseball by the time we got to this game last night. He had to leave. I think it was convenient of him to leave. Michigan State's laying 5.5 at Michigan. Call me crazy. I think Michigan's going to cover this. I'm going to place a wager. I think nobody is taking Michigan. And when they're at home, they have Doug McDaniel. I think they can stay in this game. What are you doing here?
No, I'm not betting it, but I'll take Michigan. I'm not betting it though. I think they can. I think they really good. They could look good at home. I think they can really. And it's a big rivalry too. Like they can get up at home, but.
Shout out to Socrates in the chat that is saying, and I kind of agree with him here. He says the Cal Golden Bears Moneyline 401k play. Cal is at Washington. Washington's had a huge win against Stanford. I think Cal is better than their record. They got their heart broken at Butler. I think they can win this game too. I'm taking Cal plus 7.5. Sprinkle that money line. Let's go. Let's go. What are you doing
Yeah.
here? Yes. Washington as a favorite's always terrifying.
I just don't trust Washington to cover the number. That's really what it is. I don't think Washington is good enough to cover the number. I think that whether they know what the line is and they're purposely not doing it, but I mean, 8-8 at home against the spread this season. They're 6-8 as a favorite. Like, I'm not backing Washington to cover this number. It's Cal 6-4 on the road, 10-5 as a dog. It's Cal or nothing for me.
Yeah. Jeff Sharp, shout out to Jeff in the chat, says I trust Colgate more than Vermont on the system plays. Take both today. Vermont's only laying two was it?
6.
Yeah, see that's gone that fucking line has gone insane back and forth. It opened up at like 5.5, then shot down to 2, then went back to 6. And I think Colgate's laying 12 and a half. Yeah, Chad, the Vermont line moved back up after last night's show. I still just blindly stick to my system. I know I faded it once and I ate shit for fading it. I'm sticking to my system. You gotta think long term. You gotta think, you need the discipline. And like I said, I just faded Colgate the other night and they fucked up Holy Cross. But if you stick to the system, you just have to pencil in the fact you're going to lose 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 times, but more times than not, you're going to be right at the end of the year. Give me the system plays. I don't know if you have, are you leaning anywhere, Vermont or Colgate there?
No, yeah, I'm definitely on Vermont.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning it.
Gary K was in the chat yesterday. Shout out to Gary K. And I thought he brought up an interesting angle here. Dennis Gates and Missouri are winless in the SEC. They've lost 11 straight, but they're not. They're not that fucking bad. I mean, they lost by 7 to Arkansas. We're in a tight one with South Carolina. Only lost by 6 at College Station against the Buzzsaw. 2 to South Carolina. 7 to Georgia. They beat Pitt, beat Wichita State. They're getting 11.5 or 12 at Ole Miss. I'm gonna take a flyer that Mizzou covers this game. What do you think about that? I think they're too talented to go winless in the SEC. They're gonna clip somebody. What are you doing here?
They're going to cover. At the very least, they'll cover. At the very least, they'll cover.
Shout out to Biggest Scumbag. Do you sleep, Dundee? No. Newborn in the house. That means no sleep. Yeah, Chad's like, they haven't even won Mizzou hasn't won in 2024. They're going to get it done here. Yeah. And I think Jeff's got a point here on that, but I still just blindly, should have got it in at -2 last night, but if you're just jumping in now, I still just say trust it and see where that lands. But Montana State is at Montana. Montana State's getting 7.5. This is a revenge game. Brawl of the Wild. Montana won by 10 in Bozeman on the road there. This is the revenge game. I say you take the points in the Bobcats, despite and look, I know they're not as good as traditionally because they lost their head coach to Utah State, but they're still in 5th place in the Big Sky. I think they can hang within 7.5 in a rivalry game. What are you doing here?
I'll take the revenge game. I'll play the revenge game narrative.
Arizona State is getting 19.5 at Arizona. I had to bet this just because I can't lay 19.5 in a rivalry game. Bobby Hurley won there last year. They won there in Tucson. Give me the 19.5. I know Bobby Hurley is not a good coach, but I'll take the 19.5. What are you doing here?
I see some 20s out there.
Yeah, it's too much, man. It's too much.
The lines, they're going to fold. They're not covering this.
Dude, when is the last time?
I'm betting this as we speak.
On Arizona's side, you're taking.
Yeah.
Let's do a little battle.
Well, I don't got to break my head cold, but they're counting down 7, 6, 5.
We got a battle in the desert. Memorial Cup. Dundee with the Sun Devils. Terrell with the Wildcats. It's the second Wildcats you bet on. You could do a little K-State Arizona parlay.
Arizona State's really bad.
Colorado's at USC. USC just had a big win the other day. Buffs are laying 1.5 in LA. I went Colorado, no bet. Colorado's too fucking up and down. Same with USC. Both these teams are just complete mystery fucking teams. What are you doing here?
I don't know. USC is kind of
anyone's game.
I might be becoming a believer. Give me USC +2 at home.
Oregon's at Oregon State for the final time for the foreseeable future. Oregon State's getting 7.5.
I don't think you're gonna like what I gotta say.
I'm on the Beavs. Give me that 7.5. Sleepy game for the Ducks. Bet it.
I'm gonna sit on the sidelines because I don't know. I think everybody thinks Oregon State is gonna get this done, and I'm not that impressed with the Beavs this season. I don't know.
At home,
really don't like
At
Oregon.
home, they've been all right. I agree on the
can't
road.
bet
They've been
Oregon,
ass.
I can't bet Oregon. It just I don't know. It's 7.5. 7.5. Why are they laying 7.5? Like somebody knows something.
Final game, rivalry game. Nevada at UNLV. Nevada's catching 2 in Vegas. I went Nevada. I hate betting on Steve Alford, but I bet on Nevada already. This is a fun rivalry. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I'll take Nevada on the way out.
Let's go. Folks, give Terrell Furman a follow on Twitter at @reallyRel__. Appreciate Terrell. Check out the NBA Gambling Podcast, the WNBA Gambling Podcast. And always a good time with Terrell, and hopefully we can get him back here on his birthday. Make sure you give me a follow on Twitter at @TheColbyD. I'll be on the Sports Grid at like 1:00, I think, Pacific time. Somewhere around there. Yeah. We what does John Rossi say? We sleep in May. I don't even do that, but let's go. Check out subscribe to the College Basketball Experience on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And look, right now I see 170 people here on YouTube. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Help us out a little bit. You know?
Oh, take Vandy +19.5.
That's exactly like the Arizona State play, right?
No. It's different. Arizona's going to cover that game, but take Vandy +19.5. There's no way.
I'm with you. I will take the Commodores, folks. Until next time. Enjoy the day. We'll be back tonight, and like I said, I'm on the Sports Grid later on, so check us out. Until next time, this is the College Basketball Experience. You better start thinking about yours, and we are out of here.
I lost a bet on the Super Bowl, so I had to dive in and crawl around through the snow. Don't believe me? Believe me, there's a video. We made it to promote March 5th and then we did the show. Before March there was a winter to be lived through, and snow fell on the DC metropolis. In some other cities this wouldn't be big news, but where I live it felt like an apocalypse. Not the kind with zombies or the wrath of God, but the kind where Mother Nature doesn't laugh it off. I didn't laugh at all. I saw the sky smoking the blunt, now waiting for the ash to fall. Traffic stalled for a few weeks. Capitol Hill of snow taking up a parking space. A couple notches on the beltway ain't unique, but higher in freezes get more than your heart to race. I mean the rats were frostbitten, they lost it, risking their lives just to make it to the office. Exhausting, caustic, cold front rose up through the mid-Atlantic and did its damage. Detective Baylor didn't expect a camera and brought a gun to a snowball fight. I know my rights in the season of mood swing. Some of us winning, some of us losing. That broken clock's been blinking since winter. I hope it's not telling me I was born to lose. I lost my temper, but I found my center. Winning winter, so I can stay warm with you. That broken clock's been blinking since winter. I hope it's not telling me I was born to lose. I lost my temper, but I found my center.